do fairies and mermaids actually exist? Well, some people will argue the point that they do exist, while there's the others who will insist that it's nothing more than fantasy or sci-fi, while calling believers in fairies and mermaids nothing more than a bunch of cuckoo birds. But those are the ones who fail to give it any thought, to actually dabble deep into that rabbit hole of research, to see if it's been hidden from us all these years. Now, with just about everybody carrying a smartphone, with a camera equipped with that smartphone, more and more stranger things are happening and being caught on film. Everything from alleged aliens, mermaids, and yes, of course, fairies too. Some may believe that fairies and mermaids are nothing more than fairy tales, and the only existence of a fairy or mermaid wouldn't go beyond the existence of Disney's Tinkerbell or Little Mermaid. But the fact of the matter is our own ancestors, going back hundreds and even thousands of years, were so intuitive and so connected to nature. And therefore, these strange tales that have now become known as fairy tales may be nothing more than tales of truth, and that maybe perhaps fairies and mermaids do exist. Today, we are going to review stranger things that are happening all over the globe and being caught on film or in photographs, so that together we will analyze the potential of these clips being real, maybe real, or full-on bull-doo-doo. You be the judge. This is episode number 3 of
Stranger Things Are Happening.
First, we begin this round of Stranger Things covering the subject of mermaids, and then we will move on to fairies and even an alleged pixie. Did you know there was a difference between a fairy and a pixie? Apparently there is. I didn't know that. The legends of mermaids go so far back in our history, being that of a half human and half fish, as you know. Mermaids were also known and called sirens, and they call both saltwater and freshwater their homes. They consume seaweed like we consume vegetables, while utilizing shells and coral to make spears for hunting fish, and to develop their homes beneath the sea like SpongeBob SquarePants. According to many fairy tales, mermaids were responsible for all the shipwrecks and damage that happened out at sea. There's even beliefs and legends that the Titanic did not actually sink by hitting an iceberg. The Titanic was sunk by mermaids. I disagree, because there were very important people, very wealthy people on the SS Titanic that were completely against the current banking system that we currently use, which happened to go right into place after the Titanic sank. I'll save that for another video. Even though many believe still that mermaids are nothing more than myth and fairy tales, along with fairies and pixies, here's some footage of some alleged mermaids that were caught on film, and together again we are going to decide, is it real, maybe real, or full-on bull-doo-doo? You be the judge. Our first clip and our first sighting of an alleged mermaid comes from deep beneath the sea, in this mini submersible submarine that was conducting research, and being filmed for a documentary that I believe appeared on Discovery Channel many years ago called Mermaids. So as this crew is working beneath the sea in this submersible submarine, conducting their research, they were surprised by this ocean visitor, especially one guy who didn't believe in such a thing would ever exist. But until this happened. When this happened, he became a believer. This visitor is not of any kind of fish that I've ever seen to exist. How about you? What do you think? Many believed, mainly due to the white webbed hand, that this is indeed a mermaid. I want to know what you think. Again, is it real? Is it maybe real? Or full on bull-doo-doo? Now we move on to our second clip. And if you still remain in the school of thought that mermaids absolutely do not exist, perhaps, maybe some of this footage today will help to assist you in shifting your belief, Or at least allowing this to open your mind to the simple fact that it is very, very plausible that there are things beneath the sea, like SpongeBob SquarePants, that we would have never imagined existed, and that we don't even know exist. As a matter of fact, many of the creepy things that are in the sea that we are currently aware of, once upon a time were believed to be nothing more than fairy tales or myths, like Moby Dick. In this footage from Israel, two gentlemen are out on a hike and wanted to adore the beauty of an ocean view. That's when they stumbled across something on the rocks that appeared to be a little odd. So they began shooting this footage. Now what gets me in this footage is how fast it moves in the water. See how fast that thing moved in the water? I mean, like crazy. It jumps in the water and it swims super fast. That's what gets me on this one. Look at how fast that thing moves and swims away. A human absolutely could never move that fast in the water or even on the rock. That thing moves so fast. Look at it, watch again. So fast. She jumps in the water, or we think it's a she, we don't know. And it swims away so fast, nothing can swim away that fast unless it lives in the ocean. So what do you think? Is it real? Maybe real. A full-on bull doo-doo. Personally, I think it's pretty real. You can't convince me otherwise. Or maybe you could. But I'm going to say real on this one, just because of how fast it moves. Unless, again, it could be, some people will say, oh, it's CGI. Well, this video goes back to, I believe, the year 2013, so it's an older one. Let's move on to clip number 3. Our next Stranger Things Are Happening Mermaids. This clip comes from a group of tourists out on the sea in their tour boat. While filming the beautiful coastline of Spain, they happened to catch something very strange on film, as you see here. Personally, I think whatever it is, it seems to be really as blue as Aladdin. Very blue. Therefore, I could easily call this total bull doo-doo. However, personally, I do not know what a real mermaid looks like. Do you know what a real mermaid looks like? So maybe they are blue. You be the judge. Is it real? Maybe real. Or I can't even talk. Full on bull doo-doo. You be the judge. If this next clip is real, this would go to show that our oceans do house some extremely creepy critters and creatures that we would have never imagined existed. Remember, there are depths of the ocean that man could never possibly explore or view. Not to mention the fact that there must be things living in them depths that we would have never imagined would have existed in the darkness of the ocean. This footage comes from New Delhi, India, allegedly from a group of fishermen out on the sea in hopes to feed their families. If there actually was a Guinness Book of World Wonders, this one would definitely be included. That is, if it's real. Appearing to be the head and tail of a fish, with a human body of sorts weaved in between the fish head and the tail. When this went viral back in 2017 after the release of this video, many people, of course, are skeptical, calling it a hoax. That these people are just trying to get likes for social media. Some of the commenters asked if the creature was alive or whether it was dead. Personally, to me, it looks like something that was created for the Wax Museum or a Hollywood film. But I want to know, again, what you think. Is it real? Probably not. Is it maybe real? Or full-on bull doo-doo? I'm going to go with full-on bull doo-doo on that one. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Let's move on to our 5th clip. If mermaids truly did exist and were swimming at our feet in the oceans and living in the depths of our beautiful oceans, then you might be asking the same question that I asked. After all these years, we have not had any mermaids wash up on our shores. Some will claim that the military would come in and treat it like an alien and push everybody away and, hide it and cover it up. And I agree, they definitely would do that. Of course they would do that. You would know about their lie and generations of lies, because if it exists, the government knows about it, right? But again, we ask, it's a big coastline, big oceans, big world. How come we have yet to see any remains of a mermaid wash up on our shores? Or did we? According to a TikToker, That's exactly what they're claiming, that they found the remains of what appears to be a baby mermaid, or what appears to be a mermaid, or whatever. You take a look at this footage for yourself. He picks up the skeleton and quickly throws it back in while on the beach with his family. He even calls his mother over to show her what he allegedly found. After examining the find, they quickly throw it back into the water. But why? If that were me, would you throw that back in the water? I would definitely look deeper into that find instead of just tossing it back into the water without giving us a truly clear and full view of what they found. They don't show it very clearly at all in this video, which again makes me believe without a doubt that this is one of those ones that's full on bold doo-doo. You be the judge. Do you think that's real? I do not. Because again, it's moving too fast. He's covering it up too fast. And it just looks like, again, a fake video that he created. He probably weaved together two fake skeletons or what have you. That would be all over the news. Because if you found that, you would definitely be taking that to your local news. 100%. That would give you more TikTok followers than anybody. But throwing it back in the water? No. Full on bull doo-doo. Let's move on to clip number 6. With thousands of fishing boats, fishermen, and commercial fishing boats out on our oceans each and every day, using giant nets to capture innocent fish for human consumption, you would think by this point in time they would have caught a mermaid. Or did they? If they caught mermaids, you know that mermaids would be a delicacy served at a fine dining restaurant for the global elite, like they do with dolphin and other weird things they eat. In this next video, we see a group of men out at sea using their nets to hopefully catch themselves some dinner for the night. But to everybody's surprise, they caught more than just fish in the net that day. As they struggled to bring the net up from the ocean, they got the shock of their lives as they pulled the net up and discovered a trapped mermaid struggling to get out, before they quickly drops back into the ocean in the rough seas. So could this have been a person? Otherwise, if it was a person, the ocean would have instantly become their burial ground, wouldn't you agree? They did everything possible to attempt to get that net up on the boat with the trapped mermaid. But they were no match for this creature as it seemed to break free, leaving the fishermen with nothing more than a very interesting video and footage. That we know they could not have faked this footage, because if they did fake it, they would have had to put somebody's life at high risk. You saw how rough those oceans were. You saw how that net fell back in. You would not survive that if you were a human. And it got out of the net. It's very, very interesting footage, and I want to know again, what do you think? Is it real? Maybe real? Or full on bull doo-doo? I'm going to say with that one, that baby's real. There's something there. I'm not saying it's a mermaid, but it's something that we ain't familiar with. That's for sure. This next clip from 2018 generated so many reactions when it was uploaded online. Most people being amazed by what these two gentlemen happened to catch on film while sitting to relax along the coastline on a beautiful sunny day. Thanks to his buddy who was recording his friend, they were able to catch this potential ancient creature jumping from the water. Some claim this is nothing more than a shark. Others claim to clearly see the mermaid. Regardless, this certainly was not a plan for these guys in order to circulate lots of likes or views. So what do you think? Is it real? Maybe real, or full on bull doo-doo? You be the judge, and let's move on to clip number 8. In this very short video, we have beachgoers in Brazil who happened to see something out in the water and decided to start recording what appears to be a human along with a fishtail. Many people believe that this is a human in a mermaid costume. I would like to know, again, what you think. Check it out again. Our 9th clip comes from deep and down under in Australia, mate. In this clip, while out diving in the gorgeous waters of Australia, a man was surprised when he happened to clearly see what was appearing to be a mermaid swimming alongside him. My question is, why do mermaids always show up as being females? You can't have one without the other, right? Can't have one without the other. So, why are all the male mermaids at? Where are the men mermaids? We don't ever see that. Look how perfect she appears to be flowing in the waters with the fish. She's like a model for mermaids. She should get a layout in a modeling magazine. The waters, the fish, it's pretty amazing. With her flowing long hair. I wonder if mermaids have hair salons and barber shops. What do you think? I think, again, it looks to me to appear a little bit much like somebody in a costume. Just too convenient. And that thing, if it was a real mermaid, would be just afraid of a human as a human would be afraid of them. Like I said, why are they always female? Where's the males? And, the males could have long hair too, but, we always see them and they always seem to have breasts, right? That's another way that I say that there's no way. Do you think mermaids breastfeed? I doubt it. In this next clip, number 10, that went viral, it shows a gentleman sitting here on his paddleboard. How convenient, just relaxing when he's startled by something in the water. He loses his balance, falling into the water. When he comes back out of the water, conveniently, that tail jumps right out of the water in front of him. And look at the vivid colors of that tail. Look at it. Amazing, right? So he gets back on the board, and he starts to shuffle back to the shore, while that tail and fin continue to flop nearby in the waters by him. But where's the rest of this alleged mermaid is what I want to know. We only see a vibrant tail coming out of the water. That could be his friend under the water, swinging it up, as far as we know. I don't see any other part of that. It could be a fancy fish that we're not aware of. I don't see how that people say that this is immediately a mermaid. Is anybody aware of any other fish that have a vibrant tail like that? I am not, but there probably is, especially in the waters where he's at. The waters look beautiful. But again, as always, I want to know what you think. Is it real? Maybe real. Full-on bull doo-doo. I'm going to go with the third. Full-on bull doo-doo. But I want to know what you know and what you think. Let me know in the comments below. I have many more clips to show you, but for now, I wanted to welcome you to my channel and back to my channel. My name is Joseph Tittel, aka Spiritman JT, if you happen to be new to the channel. And if you want accurate predictions, prophecy, truth, and content like today's content, you want to vibe with the tribe, smash that subscribe, baby. Thank you for showing your love by clicking the love button, which happens to be the thumbs up button. A lot of time, a lot of energy goes into creating this content for you. And I thank all my supporters who make this free content possible for everybody else through their love and support. Whether you're a member of the community down below, the Awaken Your Spirit community, whether you send in chat, cash, PayPal, Cash App, whatever, I am so grateful. Couldn't provide you with all this great content without your help. I thank you with infinite love and gratitude. Now let's move on to Stranger Things Are Happening. While out on the beach for a day of sunbathing and a dip in the ocean, a group of people saw a beautiful sight. What appeared to be dolphins jumping in and out of the waves that were crashing towards the shores. So, of course, they got out their cameras to get some good footage of these beautiful dolphins. I love dolphins personally. They're one of my allies. Do you love dolphins? But there was more than just what appeared to be a dolphin jumping in and out of these waves. As you can see in this footage, it appears that one of those dolphins has arms that are stretching out, diving in and out of the waves, like a mermaid. Many people believe that's exactly what they happen to catch on film accidentally. I want to know what you think. Do dolphins have arms that stretch out like this? Pretty wild, I must say. So is this real? Maybe real or full-on bull doo-doo? Well, it can't be full-on bull doo-doo because those folks were filming dolphin randomly in the ocean. So I'm going to say maybe real. What do you say? In this next terrifying clip, we witness two guys. You notice it's always guys catching this footage? Always, it seems. And it's always female mermaids. But is this next clip of a female mermaid? Is it even a mermaid or is it even real? So while deciding to take a stroll along the Tiscaba Lagoon in Nicaragua, when they had this strange feeling and went for a closer look, on to discover this terrifying creature that appears to be very, very angry. Why does it appear to be so angry, roaring at these people is beyond me, but it's very interesting to say the least. If mermaids did and do exist, this would probably likely be a much closer reality of what they could appear to look like. That, to me, looks like something out of a Hollywood movie. For sure. And he's angry, swinging that tail. I'm going to go with maybe CGI. I doubt that's real, but it could be. Again, if mermaids did exist, they wouldn't look like the beautiful women mermaids that we're taught to believe. They would be terrifying. They live in the ocean. They're not human. They're mermaids. So what do you think? I want to know in the comments down below. Our Lucky 13 clip comes from an alleged mermaid that washed along the shoreline. So yes, apparently mermaids do wash up on the shores. But is it real? Spectators were stunned to see this with its long red hair, pale skin, and appearing exactly what people may expect a mermaid to appear like. Many believe this was nothing more than a prank, an art exhibit. But what do you think? Check it out again. She's creepy. Very, very creepy. And it kind of look at how the stomach's all like inwards as if it was decomposing like a fish. And I would imagine that thing would have to smell from a mile away if that thing, just because a big fish would stink. It's half fish. That looks to me more like an art exhibit or, again, something out of a Hollywood movie. If it were real, we would know about it by now. That would have been all over the news, and that thing would be in a museum for us to go see. Because somebody'd be making millions off of it as a museum item for people to go see. They'd travel all over to all the museums all over the world, right? Would they not? Again, I want to know what you think. Real, maybe real, or full-on bull doo-doo. Have you ever heard of something disturbing referred to or called mermaid syndrome? It does exist. Mermaid syndrome is actually a birth deformity in which the legs are fused together and don't grow correctly while in development. And we definitely can send a lot of prayers to that poor child right there, because that is definitely something I never heard of until I did a little research. Have you ever heard of mermaid syndrome? Before moving on to the fairy realm, I have another clip for you that's a special clip that does not at all fit into the category of mermaids or fairies. It fits into its own special category that we're going to call WTF is that category. A farmer noticed that he was missing some cattle. In turn, he decided that he was going to hook up a game camera to see if he can catch the critter on film. In turn, he caught something on film, all right. To his great surprise, and to all of our surprises, he got this footage of WTF is that. What is that, friends? Almost looks like a giant grasshopper without a head. You notice it has no head, friends. Whatever it is, it certainly cannot be eating his cattle because it has no head. What do you think? Is it a trick? Trick photography? Because it really kind of looks like a giant grasshopper without a head. What do you think it is? It definitely, again, isn't eating his cattle because it ain't got no head or teeth. Wild. Moving on to the fairy realm, another myth or fantasy according to many folks. While there are many who truly believe in the existence of fairies, some, like myself, have even had the blessings of receiving messages, visits, or even footage caught on film of fairies. And I do know for a fact fairies do exist. Why? Because I dated a few of them. But on a serious note, I really did have my own mystical encounters with fairies. And I can't wait to tell you about a few of those stories at the end of today's video and show you my footage, if you haven't seen it already, that I caught on security camera. First, we begin our journey into the realm of fairies this evening with some photographs that happened to be posted by someone on Facebook who insists that he receives visits from the fairies on a daily basis. He developed such a close relationship with these fairies that they actually allowed him to take these photographs. Check them out. In his post with these pics, he stated, and I quote, "My friend from Argatha just visited me. Some of you will say it's just a moth, but it is not. I meet with them every evening." And unquote. Some may argue, yeah, of course, it looks like a moth, perhaps, in every photo. But honestly, Try comparing these photos to a picture of a moth, and you're going to find that they are actually quite different. And I like the very last photo in this group of photos that they show. That right there kind of looks like a moth, but we don't know. But look at that one. It looks like it has little legs. That to me looks like a miniature little fairy. What do you think? Do you think that's a fairy or do you think that's a moth? Closer shot. Kind of neat. It looks kind of interdimensional. And again, I remind you, fairies are interdimensional beings. Mermaids, however, I don't believe are. People will argue that this is definitely a moth. But how do we know? Again, you don't know what fairies look like. Do you know what fairies look like? I know what fairies look like. But let's move on to our second clip. I truly love this next clip, mainly because it completely reminds me of the footage that I caught on security cameras when I first moved out here to Sedona, Arizona. But first we have this clip, which could be found on the YouTube channel FKV. And for some reason or another, a man decided that he was going to set up this camera in his daughter's bedroom, facing a fairy door, of all things. So I would like to hear what you got to think, and let's check this clip out. So here you see the camera set up facing the little fairy door that they have against the wall, which I think is so cute, actually. Keep your eye on that fairy door really, really closely. You can even hear the fairy drop the key. Crazy. Did you see that? Watch again. It'll happen again. It's like the fairy drops multiple keys. There's another one. Boom. Oh, grab the key that time. Grab the key. Now, he shows a clip from some time later. Now I want you to watch the window. The window is closed. Watch the ribbon on the dog. And watch the top of the dog's head. Pushes the dog right off. That is just hysterical. I mean, the window's closed. Nothing blew that thing over. Watch the door again. The fairy house. Now he circles everything with red circles so we can see it even better. Starting with the ribbon on the dog, I believe, is next. Yes. Watch, it starts moving. The window's closed. There's no breeze coming through that window. Watch the shades start to move as if a breeze blows through. That's another one of my favorite parts. Watch the fairy door. Key drops. And I think the shades blow next. There is a point where the shades start blowing and the window's closed. Picks up the key and takes off. That's wild. And again, some point later, this is when the window blows open. But there's no window open. See? And then knocks over the thing again. That is great. That's great. I don't know. What do you think, friends? That's pretty damn convincing. And you can hear the key drop and hear it pick up the key. And again, fairies are, interdimensional beings. So they wouldn't appear solid like we would think they would appear. They would appear different, right? And that's, from my experience, how they appeared to me was in that fashion, in an interdimensional being type of fashion. And most of my personal experience was communicating with them. Not actually seeing them, but communicating with them. It's a great story, and I'm going to hold that for the end today. I love this next clip just as much, and this comes from the same FKV channel on YouTube, and I got to remind you that fairies would be more, again, interdimensional beings, as we saw in the previous clip, and as you're going to see in this clip that actually comes from Lollamore, Ireland. Check it out. And if there's fairies anywhere, they're definitely in Ireland. So watch the bird. Look, see it? Like, what is it? Now watch the bird, because the bird sees it and is trying to peck at it. It disappeared. The bird's like, where'd you go? Oh, there you are. Oh, there you are. That bird is watching. Even the bird's like, what the heck? What the hell are you doing? Who are you? What's that? Let's zoom in on it. Look at that. It blends in like camouflage. Now that, to me, that would be more of how a fairy would appear. Blending in. But not enough that the bird don't see. That bird saw that 100%. Watch again. Watch the bird. This is enhanced. The bird like literally looks right at it. Face to face in the beginning of that clip. And the bird's like, what are you doing? You're playing around with me. There you are. There you are. Whatever it is, that bird again sees it. 100% that bird sees that. And face to face in the beginning of the clip. I find that to be a great clip. And so do you believe it's real? Maybe real or total bull doo-doo. I call real on those last two clips. 100%. Apparently, like children and many adults, fairies love to swing back and forth on a swing, the higher the better. And in this next clip, also coming from our friends in Ireland, and I gotta say, again, if fairies do exist, which I have no doubt they do, they're definitely going to want to reside in Ireland, the home of the fairy kingdom. Check out the clip. And that's exactly what this is showing here, friends. It's showing a little fairy kingdom. They have these all over. I know there's one up in Lilydale, New York. Little fairy trail where they build the little fairy houses. And you see it all there. Really cute. Look at the little table. The little chairs. And up here you'll see the swing. And a little... Look at that. Swinging back and forth. There's something there. Now some people say, oh, it's the reflection of the sun. Well, what is the sun reflecting on? That looks to me like a fairy getting its swing on, baby. Getting its swing on. Right above the fairy village, friends. Here, I'll show you that clip again. Right above the fairy village. Little fairy village that they built for them. So there's no coincidences there. Believe what you want. But again, they are interdimensional beings. And as you see, that's what it looks like on this swing. A little interdimensional fairy getting its swing on, baby. What do you think? Is it real? Maybe real or full-on bull doo-doo. I call it real, baby. I hope you do too. I always save my best clips for last, at least in my own opinion. And this next clip happens to be, next few clips, because they're all related to each other, happens to be one of my favorites. Definitely, probably my favorite of the one of all evenings. Whether it be real, whether it may be real, or whether it be full-on bull doo-doo and a hoax, I still enjoy it. And I hope that you enjoy it. It comes from the YouTube channel and a gentleman by the name of Erwin Saunders. Check him out because he's got really good stuff there. Really interesting. I found it very fascinating. So thank you for that. I enjoyed it regardless. So they go into the forest somewhere, deep in the forest, somewhere in Europe. I'm guessing maybe Ireland. I don't know. I didn't really look to see where they were from. They didn't mention it in the video. But they do have European accents of sorts. They camouflage themselves in these little tents, hiding around the forest, waiting for hours to see what they can catch on film. And this is exactly what they caught on film. So this is one of the first sightings that they caught on film, or that Erwin caught on film, Erwin Saunders. And he's sitting outside. He's not camouflaged. He's just quietly sitting there for hours in this spot, as you see here. And he spots something up above. Check it out. What is that?
Oh, well,
that's what he calls pixies.
A shot of one. We just keep it up there.
He made some noise, so he kind of startled it off. But there's better clips, friends. There's better clips. Does he come back? I don't think he comes back. He made too much noise. This clip happens to be my favorite of Erwin Saunders. So this is when they're camouflaging these little tents. It's more like an outhouse tent, you know, that they use for outhouses when you're camping. It's a little one, green, and he's just kind of blending in with everything. And this is what they see running around. This guy's shocked, completely shocked. Like, what was that? What was that? Let's try it again. Let's look at that again. This is another one. He's cute. He's a little cutie pie. What do you think? Is he a little cutie pie? Is he real? Maybe real. Full on bull. Again, I just absolutely love that clip just because it's just pretty fun. You got to watch the whole video. So go to Erwin Saunders channel. Check out the full clip. It's a lot of fun. I found it entertaining, and I believe that could truly be real. I have no doubt. But, I'd like to see it for myself, though. I'm that kind of person. Got to kind of show me for myself, for me to believe. So things that I believe, spirit and universe and so forth, has proved it to me over these decades. Interesting. I want to know what you think about all of this. Do mermaids and fairies exist and things that we would have never imagined existed? So I know for doubt, I'm going to show you a clip of my fairy from security footage that I caught on film when I first moved here to Sedona. First, let me tell you a story. So back east, most commonly I was traveling every weekend either to hotels or people's homes to do group readings and connect people with their deceased loved ones. And I went to this fabulous house in New Hope, Pennsylvania. Very wealthy house. Probably worth millions. And someone famous, a famous actor lived there in the early 40s or 50s or something like that. I can't remember who. Nice family. Lots of acreage. Giant house. There was a little patch of woods on part of their property. So after halfway through my readings, I would always take a break, go outside, unplug. Back then smoked, because I smoked back then. And I remember, wandering off to this little patch of woods. And there was a cute little trail, and I followed the little trail back, and then all of a sudden I had this connection with these fairies communicating with me. I did not see them, but I did see their homes. And I got to find those pictures. I'm sure I probably have them somewhere. We're going back a long time ago. But there was a fairy village. I knew as soon as I came across it, I'm like, this is a fairy village. I know they live here. And then they started communicating with me. And they started telling me that they were worried. I'm like, why are you worried? Well, they're going to cut this woods down. And we've been here for a very, very long time. And can you help us to make sure that they don't cut this woods down? This patch of woods, this patch of forest. They called it the forest. Because this is all the forest we have left. And we don't want to relocate, is what they told me. So I went back in the house, and I'm thinking these people are going to think I'm a cuckoo bird when I tell them that they have a fairy castle in their patch of woods on their property. Well, they didn't think I was that crazy at all, especially when I told them that they asked me to tell you to please don't cut down those woods. Well, here it just so happened that the owner, the husband and the wife, were actually in an argument, not that day, but they were arguing back and forth because she refused to let her husband cut down that patch of woods, and he wants to cut it down. I thought that was pretty wild. So she laughed, saying, now we are definitely not cutting it down at all whatsoever. We're going to preserve it, make sure it stays that way. So, and these are the things that I say to my students. You just can't make this shit up. You just can't make it up, friends. Crazy, right? Just like I was sitting at my computer when I first moved here, sitting at my office desk, probably late in the evening. Might have been during COVID lockdown, actually. I think it was. My security camera kept going off in the front, in the driveway, out in front of the garage. And I'm like, I'm looking out the window, I don't see anything. And, we have javelina and all kinds of animals and creatures, but this is wintertime. And it's freezing cold outside. Freezing. There's no spiders, there's no spider webs, there's no moths, there's no bugs. It's freezing cold, 30 degrees out in winter. January, February, somewhere around that time. And the camera security footage went off. So I decided it went off so many times, I got to go look at this footage because I don't see anything outside. And the light would even come on as if something walked across and the motion light came on. I'm like, that's bizarre. There's nothing out there. And it kept happening. And then I went and looked at the footage, and this is what I found. You have to watch it really, really closely. It happens quickly. I have some zoomed in versions too. But as we zoom in, you can see how it comes down around the corner and kind of dances around. It's pretty clear as far as I'm concerned. Now, I analyzed this when I first saw this video. I analyzed it to make sure. I checked. I went out there. There's no spiders. Again, it's too cold. That was my first thought. Spider web reflection. Nope. No spiders. Too cold. Really interesting. And I have had other encounters. My first encounter actually with seeing fairies with my naked eye. I saw them as interdimensional beings. And I was on in a pagan gathering, actually, in the middle of nowhere in upstate Massachusetts. An event called Rites of Spring off the Appalachian Trail. And I was up. It was like 5, 6 in the morning walking, and I stumbled on it. It was foggy, too. It was really neat. It was kind of foggy. It looked mystical and fantasy realm. And it was. It was like I walked into another dimension. That was my first time, and I was probably 20 years old when that happened. So, several encounters, and I also know that fairies do love chocolate. And when someone told me that and I put it out for them, and then the next day they told me the chocolate's too big. We're little. You have to cut it up into little tiny itty bitty pieces. Thought that was funny. And that was my encounters. Did you ever have an encounter with a fairy or a mermaid? If so, we want to know in the comments below. And if you have footage you want to share, do leave that down below in the comments too. Please do not send me emails with links, pictures. Send all your stuff down below in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Stranger Things Are Happening. And we'll do it again if you enjoy. So far, this is the 3rd episode that we've done. Go back. We've talked about ghosts, all kinds of stuff. Each time I do this, I'm not going to say every week, but when I do Stranger Things, I'll try to have a different topic every time. And remember, if you want accurate predictions, prophecy, and truth, and you want to vibe with the tribe, you got to smash that subscribe. And catch me every Tuesday for Tuesday's Tittle Tea Time Predictions Update, where we talk about world events, how they may or may not align with predictions and prophecy, with new predictions each and every week. Till the next time, my beautiful friends, thank you for your love. Thank you for your support. Thank you for clicking that love button, the thumbs up button down below. Helps get this content out to others. Helps our tribe to grow. Remember to celebrate life and celebrate you. Be kind to others as you wish others be kind to you. And remember to be bold, be true, be kind, be you, because you rock. Get out there and rock out your awesomeness. And have a beautiful rest of your day. Namaste and much love, friends.